Day 657 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 696, count binary substrings. The difficulty level is easy, so you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as possible. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, hype, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go ahead and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. Given a binary string S, return the number of non-empty substrings that have the same number of zeros and ones, and all the zeros and all the ones in the substring are grouped consecutively. Substrings that occur multiple times are counted the number of times they occur. All right, y'all, so that sounds simple enough, but let's go ahead and take a look at these examples anyway, just to make sure that we are doing this problem correctly. So in example 1, we have our input S equals a string 00110011. The output is 6. That means there were 6 substrings that fit these requirements, right? So one of the requirements is they have the same numbers of zeros and ones, and all the zeros and all of the ones in these substrings are grouped consecutively, meaning the zeros are grouped together and the ones are grouped together. So let's look at the explanation to see what those substrings are. It says there are 6 substrings that have equal number of consecutive ones and zeros. 0011. So this is the first substring right here. As you can see, it has 2 zeros and 2 ones. So this fits the first requirement that it must have the same number of zeros and ones. Then, as you also can see, the zeros are grouped together and the ones are grouped together. So it fits this requirement that all the zeros and ones in these substrings are grouped consecutively, meaning they're grouped together. So this is the first substring, 2 zeros, 2 ones, zeros are grouped together, ones are grouped together. Boom. Oh, yeah, that's right. Boom. So this would be the first substring right here. Boom. Second substring would be this right here. Right, has 1 0 and 1 1. Zeros with it by itself, 1 is by itself. Boom. That's the second substring. Third substring, which is moving down the line, is this right here. Once again, it follows the rules. 2 ones, 2 zeros. The ones are grouped together and the zeros are grouped together. Boom. That's the third substring. This is the fourth right here. Boom. So we have a 1, right? 1 1. We have 1 0. The ones by itself, zeros by itself. Boom. Next substring. I think this is the fourth or the fifth. This is the fifth substring. Boom. So we have 2 zeros right here, and we have 2 ones right here. The zeros are grouped together, the ones are grouped together. Boom, that's the fifth. And then finally, the sixth substring would be this right here. It has 1 0 1 1. Boom, once again, they fit the requirements. In total, there were 6 substrings, and that's how we got those. So now, just in case that didn't make sense, let's take a look at example 2. So in example 2, we have our input S equals a string 10 10 1. This time the output is 4. It says there are 4 substrings. 1 0, so this is the first substring. 1 0, and it has 1 1 and 1 0. Boom. Then we do this one right here, 0 1. It has 1 0 1 1. Boom. Then we do this right here. 1 0 again. It has 1 0. It has 1 1 and 1 0. Boom. Then finally we do this right here. It has 1 0 1 1. In total, those were a total of 4 substrings. So that's how we got that 4. So I hope that makes sense to y'all. And now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. Solution is not that difficult at all. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want a variable anyway. We're going to get a variable to count the consecutive zeros in the current group. So we'll declare a variable right here. We could call it 0 count, and we'll set that equal to 0 to start. Boom. Now we need to count the consecutive ones in the current group. So we're going to declare a variable, call this one 1 count. Set that equal to 0. Just to start. That's just the default value. Now we need to track the current direction. So we're going to create a Boolean. False will mean we're currently counting zeros, and true will mean we're currently counting ones. So we'll just declare a variable called direction, and we could set that equal to false just to start. Boom. Now our final result is going to be the number of valid binary substrings. We need to keep count of that. So we could just declare a variable called count and set that equal to 0. Boom. Now we need to iterate through each character in the string. So we'll come down here, we'll say for char in, for char in S, then we'll open up the brackets. And if the current character is a 0, we're going to check by saying if char equals 0, we'll open up the brackets. And if we were previously counting ones, we're going to reset the 0 count because we are starting a new 0 group. So we'll say if direction, then we'll open up the brackets and we'll say 0 count equals 0. Boom. Then we're going to update the direction to indicate we're now in the 0 sequence. So we'll come right here and we are going to say direction equals false. Now we need to increment the count of consecutive zeros by coming underneath this. We're going to say 0 count plus equals 1. And a valid binary substring exists if the current 0 group length is less than or equal to the previous 1 group length. So we're going to come underneath this and we're going to say if 0 count, if 0 count is less than or equal to 1 count, then we're going to open up the brackets and we're going to say count plus equals 1. Boom. Else, so we're going to come right here, and this else is going to handle if character or if char is equal to 1. So this handles if char is equal to 0. So then this else is going to be if char is equal to 1. We'll say we're going to check if we were previously counting zeros, then we need to reset the 1 count because we're starting a new 1 group. So we'll say if direction equals false, then we'll open up the brackets and we'll say 1 count equals 0. Now we need to update the direction to indicate we're now in a 1 sequence. So we'll come underneath this and we'll say direction equals true. And then we need to increment the count of consecutive ones. So we're going to say 1 count plus equals 1. Boom. And if a valid binary substrings exist whenever the current 1 group length is less than or equal to the previous 0 group length. So once again, we'll come down here and we'll say if 1 count is less than or equal to 0 count, then we'll open up the brackets and we'll say count plus equals 1. And now finally, we need to return the total number of valid binary substrings by coming right here, and we could just say return count. Boom, y'all, that's all she wrote. Let's give it a run. Make sure that runs. Ooh, we got an error. Y'all. So let's see what's going on here. This should be in a string format, so quotation marks, I guess. So now let's run that again. See if that did the trick. It's accepted. So let's go ahead and submit it. Make sure it's still accepted after we submit it. And look at that, y'all. 21 milliseconds beats 14.29% of users. We can definitely get those numbers up, but for now, we just want to be able to solve the problem that is presented to us, and I feel like this is a good, simple, and easy solution that we can all learn from and understand, because if you don't understand the solution, then you probably won't be able to apply any knowledge that you gain from this problem on the next problem. So that's why it's important to understand the solution, y'all. Now, with that being said, make sure you get one more look at the solution. This is the top part. This is the bottom. And yeah, y'all, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.